Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about conditional statements. So conditional statements are statements that we're going to make that involve a hypothesis and a conclusion. And we're going to state them as if-then statements. So a conditional statement is just a hypothesis followed by a conclusion, and we are using them as if and then. So all of these statements are going to use both of those words, if, then. Our hypothesis comes after the if, and we use that as the symbol P. Our conclusion comes after the then, and we use that, the symbol Q. So our conditional statement is if P, if the hypothesis, then Q, then the conclusion. We're going to be making three other statements using our first initial conditional statement. So the very first statement that you're going to make is going to be conditional, and you're going to be using if, then. And then we're going to use that to make a converse statement. And all we're doing in the converse statement is we're going to switch the P and the Q so that the Q comes first and the P comes last. So then that will read if conclusion, then hypothesis. The next statement we're going to make is an inverse statement. This one negates both the P and the Q. So it's going to say if not the hypothesis, then not the conclusion. Our inverse relates directly to our conditional statement. So when we're looking at inverse statements, we are just taking our conditional and adding in not. Not has to go on both sides, after the if and after the then. You cannot have a if not the hypothesis, then conclusion. For our inverse, it has to both be not. Our contrapositive statement is our final statement, and it negates both the Q and the P. So this one reads if not conclusion, then not hypothesis. This statement is taking our converse statement and putting in not. Let's look at an example. If a polygon has three sides, then it is a triangle. That is our conditional statement. It's already written in the if then. So the part following the if, a polygon has three sides, is our hypothesis. Our conclusion follows the then. So our conclusion is it is a triangle. So let's write the other sentences. The converse. So all I'm doing is swapping the two parts of the sentence. So I'm going to say, if it is a triangle, then it is a polygon with three sides. I hope that makes sense. So let's look at the inverse. We said the inverse relates to the original conditional statement. So I'm looking at if a polygon has three sides, then it is a triangle. But I'm adding in not. If a polygon does not have three sides, then it is not a triangle. The contrapositive, we're going back to the converse. If it is a triangle, then it is a polygon with three sides. Now we're going to add in not. If it is not a triangle, then it does not have three sides. So take a look at this next one. If A, B, and C are on the same line, then they are collinear. Write your conditional statement. And before you do that, when you're looking at this statement, point out your hypothesis and your conclusion. Get those straight because that will help us figure out how to write all the other sentences. So then write your converse, your inverse, and your contrapositive. After you're done with that, you need to analyze each statement. So we're not just writing statements to write statements. We want to look at if they are true or false. If you can find one example of where it is false, then it is false. So just write true or false. Some of them may all be true. Some of them may all be false. Look at each one separately. And if you can come up with one example where it's not true, then it is not true. So some things to remember. So your conditional statement is your first if-then statement, always. It's going to be your first if-then statement. And then your inverse is just your conditional adding not. And your converse is switching around your conditional statement, just moving parts of the sentence. Your contrapositive is looking at your converse statement and adding a not. So try not to make this more complicated than it is. Also, one other thing, if you can find one counterexample, then it is false. I don't need 10 to make it false. I just need one. Okay, so I hope this helps, and let me know if you have any questions.